Hi, I'm Mia Saenz, your host for this segment of The Paradigm Shift Conquering Fear. With me in this segment is Francie Lora. She's an amazing spiritualist, a beautiful counselor for women of cancer and 9/11 victims, which is post-traumatic stress disorder and other tragedies that went along with 9/11. So enjoy this segment. We're taking me out of it because I'm pink and green and upside down, and it might be a little distracting. So sometimes footage happens this way, and due to the amount of footage and the beautiful people that we have in it, I didn't want to have to reshoot it due to their schedules, and also I didn't want to appear green and upside down. Maybe vain, but I thought it'd be distracting. So enjoy this segment, and I'll see you in another one. Thanks. Bye. Welcome to the Paradigm Shift, Conquering Fear. I'm your host, Mia Saenz, and with me this segment is Francie Lora. Welcome, Francie.
Thank you.
Thank you for joining me. So fear is a huge topic for the world. And so this is going to be a fun segment. Would you like to share with the viewers your path on how you got to where you are today? I know that it's very, very rich and there's many tales, and so I'm excited to see which one you're going to share.
Well, yeah, I mean, to sort of launch off like, I can do that. I guess the first thing to say is that I have lived an extraordinary life. And I say that with also feeling that every single moment of it has been a gift and something that I would not want to have be any other way, even though to a lot of other people, once I share a few things, you'll see, people see them as disasters or crises or tragic or something. This is where this is all kind of wrapped up with this fear issue. When I was a very, very little girl, I had a beautiful home. I lived with my father and mother. My father was a minister. And I had a very serious, ongoing case of a teacher who was abusing me. And that was my first kind of break into the world not being happy and safe. The gift there for me was that my father was a minister, and I had a beautiful kind of minister where he had basically taught me from the time I was little, and my mother, the whole family, was about love and God is someone whose lap you can climb up into and tell him anything and he will protect you. So when this was happening to me with this man, I was 6 years old, and it went on for a year. He had threatened me with hurting my family, and I would basically put myself in his hands. And I prayed that he would take me away from here. So then we get into the big magic where my father's work. My father was assigned to go to India. So we all get on a ship and sail to India, and I'm sort of thinking, thank God, truly, this really happened. I was taken away. What I wanted happened. And I'm telling this story sort of in more detail only because that was my beginning lesson. And everything that has happened to me through some very serious things. I've had rape, I've been raped, I've had cancer, I've been beaten up, I've had all kinds of things happen that sound horrible. But every single one, my spiritual grounding and living in the moment has taken me into places of where the fear was overcome. Fear is just all about the unknown. Fear is in our minds. It's a moment-to-moment choice on whether we're going to be in fear. And that doesn't mean, though, that you can flip a switch and just go from one to another. When the fear comes up, our minds, we're human beings, and our minds feelings come, and fear is a feeling. And it's really all about making friends with that fear. It's about noticing it when it comes. It's about asking questions of it. It's about asking it to lead us where in our body it's living. It's not something you can even do with your mind. You've got to kind of go into a process, a meditation. It takes time. Once your body and your soul truly, truly becomes friends with that fear, it goes away. It has no power over you, because that's the other big thing. Fear absolutely has power over you. It will derail you from everything that you are if you don't make friends with it. So, I mean, all of this is to say, I really know nothing. I just live my life, and I use my experiences to teach me. But that doesn't mean, everybody's life, everybody's dealing with fear is as individual as they are. Mm-hmm. I really have gotten to the point, even today, in this, like, oh my God, what's Mia going to ask me? What I had come up for me is my 2-year-old granddaughter's voice, saying her mother's kind of working with her on feelings, and Luciana will say, it's all right to cry. So I was sitting here sort of waiting for Mia, and I said to myself, it's all right to be afraid, it's all right to be nervous about this. And the minute I did that, it's all right. Then when the time came, it wasn't really there. Mm-hmm. It's all right. And that's the first thing. You relax around it, you make friends with it. So anyway, now what?
I love that, because I've heard a few people say make friends with fear in a sense during this interviewing people for the summit. But one thing that I love about Francie, everyone, is that she's incredibly, I'm going to get emotional, she's incredibly spiritual and beautiful, and I love the way she shares things. So let's talk a little bit about fear and making friends with it, because a little bit more. I know that you shared that, because I worked through it in a different process, but I'd like to make friends with it, because that way I think that it won't occur, things won't occur as quickly. I like that. I love that.
I will now go into one of my other stories. After we got on that ship and sailed off to India, on the very first day that I was in South India, I delivered a baby. And that has a long story behind it, so I won't get into that. But the delivering of the baby led me into meeting the baby's grandfather, who was a Hindu holy man. And this man became my personal teacher for 7 years while I was in India. From the ages of 7 to 14, he was my teacher. Okay, what Arokiam taught me was how I connect to your question. First of all, I will say the very first thing that he said to me was, I have been waiting for you. You are going to live a life of tremendous emotional and physical pain, and I'm going to teach you how to be good with it. So, what did he teach me? I can't put it into words, but what he did do was we had an exploration for 7 years of the senses. The eyes, the ears, the nose, the mouth, touch. And it was very thorough, to put it mildly. You experience this, I shouldn't say you, I experience my life through my senses. When I'm with somebody, I'm listening. When I'm with my feelings, I'm listening. I'm not only listening with my soul, I'm listening actually with my ears and looking with my eyes and feeling, so that also I just sort of an exploration of my body. Where am I feeling this? Where does it hurt? Does this have to do with what's going on right now? That's kind of how I am a Capricorn, so I'm very in my body. So it's like, that's how I go. The fear is not just something sort of floating around in my brain. It is something that I seek to get a hold of. It's like, and I don't mean like, oh, let's grab it and harness it. It's like, where is it? It's inside of me. where is it? Like right before this, it was sitting right here. It was sitting right here. It's like, oh, wow. So, and then I don't go, oh, my God, I'm not going to be able to talk. Oh, there it is. There it is. That's where it is. And what also happens through time, which is really kind of funny, it's like, well, being human is really about these fears. And it's about, they come one after another. And if you don't do the work, the same one will come again and again. And then it does erode, it erodes your power. But what I was going to say is, after you with one and then another and then another, actually what starts happening is you just make friends with fear itself. It's like, bring it on. Come on. I'm ready. I'm waiting for you. You learn to recognize it just with a snap of the fingers. And then also, that's where, the whole idea of fear and love being opposites and one doesn't exist without the other and blah, 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 it actually becomes true. Because once you kind of go, okay, come on, and you recognize it, you do actually, in a strange way, begin to love it, because the minute you recognize it and you're kind of, bigger than it is, or it becomes you or whatever, then you actually do love the whole process. It's like, oh my gosh, this is what it is to be human. This is so great. I am free. You experience this more and more and more of, I'm free. And it doesn't mean they don't keep coming, but they don't get you the same way.
Right. And you grow so amazing during those periods that I would think, well, not I think, I know, that when I'm conquered each time, it is exciting because the fear lessens. I feel that I can handle it better the next time, and the next time, and the next time.
It's true, and yet there are those fears. I mean, who are we? I say this as if, I've sort of conquered something. There are the big fears out there. What if you were to lose a child? What if you were to lose a grandchild? What if, those are the big ones, and they're there for all of us. It's like, again.
I've lived with that, Francie, because, as you know, my identical twin sister died at birth. And I was born 3 months early, and then when I was 13, right before my 14th birthday, my father passed. So I lived with people that I loved, the fear of not just abandonment, but of them literally dying. And I had to train myself by trusting that God, the divine, would take care of me and them. And I remember it used to be so painful when I was a teenager and up through probably throughout my first marriage, which was a long time. That marriage lasted a long time, which was wonderful. But after that, I stopped fearing people's death, people leaving me, people being hurt, because I realized that I had to trust that God would take care of them, just like I overcame OCD about checking the front door all night long. And I didn't stop that until I had children. And I realized, what am I teaching my children about fear, about my fear of the front door being unlocked, somebody coming in to hurt me, because I've been hurt too before.
This is also, and I don't mean to interrupt you.
No, go ahead.
This is where we each have our own individual experiences of the fear itself and the healing of it. Because actually, in you just saying that, this is why I interrupted you, when you said, oh, what about my children? Of course, we as parents or their surroundings are going to sort of make suggestions in all kinds of directions, but they're going to have their own fears and their own ways of dealing, and we really just have to trust and let that be. We live our lives the whole time thinking, oh my gosh, I've reacted to this in a certain way. How is she going to react because I reacted this way? It's like it gets to just one little, but. It is, that's huge what you just shared about losing loved ones. And I just use that as an example because people also, people fear pain, people fear the idea of maybe having a stroke and being totally incapacitated, and then what do I do when everybody has to take care of me and I would rather die and blah, blah, blah. So these are the things, we're given the opportunity, usually, to experience enough that when the things that might be your biggest things happen, if you've done the work, you have the tools. Even if you haven't done the work, you will be given the opportunity to grow those tools. So that in itself, there's really no reason to be afraid.
Right.
Because
and everyone experiences this, but it's how they decide to face it. Whether everyone experiences fear and trauma and different things in their life.
And that's where it's a moment by moment choice. It is.
So yes, those moment-by-moment choices are really important. And what I love to see is people who have never taken the time to evaluate their life and then to finally go, wow, I have a choice. This doesn't just have to bowl me over. I can decide how I'm going to react and how I'm going to change my life.
Yes.
I love that. It's beautiful. One of the things that I was saying that I also healed through trusting the divine was OCD, which is a huge fear for a lot of people. So, as I was starting to say about OCD, that's a huge thing that can travel in families. And my cousins have it, I have a son that has it. But I worked through one aspect of OCD of locking the doors every night, repeatedly waking up every 20 minutes, getting out of bed to check the doors. It's an obsessive compulsive disorder. And so I worked through that fear with trusting God. I mean, that was my choice of how I did it. I just realized that if the divine was taking care of me always, I don't need to check the door because I've already checked it and it's locked. And I think that it's amazing when we can, and so that obviously was a huge fear for me, because otherwise I wouldn't check the door every 20 minutes in the middle of the night. So it's amazing how we can work our way through fear. And perhaps I made fear my friend and didn't even realize it in that aspect because I felt I had something stronger to hold on to and embrace. You know, I had something to hold to connect to.
I think the big message here is that fear itself is a message. I mean, fear, that's where where would we be without fear? I mean, fear is a message that there is something that we need to be paying attention to. And so then it's identifying that thing and doing this whole making friends with it, that then it raises our consciousness. So fear plays a very important part in the whole grand scheme of things. It inspires us. It requires us to go inward, to start exploring, to be interested in inner workings, because it's the only way you're going to find the peace. So fear is very important in that way, besides the way of just alerting us to things for our own survival.
Can you talk about that aspect, about how important it is? Because for me, it's funny, when I hear that, I think, really? I mean, I understand it, but for those who don't thoroughly understand it, let's break that down and see what that looks like.
Well, I guess the simplest way, to say anything that makes sense about that is, it would be I think we human beings love to be comfortable. And if we were just not having anything that particularly bothered us, we could just sort of la along. But when things come up that are not comfortable, fear being really the deal, I mean, it's really what everything comes down to, our insecurities, everything comes down to fear, everything that's not comfortable. Then we have to start raising our energy in a different way. We have to start focusing on things in a different way. We have to start paying attention. It wakes us up. It wakes us up.
We can feel fear in our body in different areas.
Oh yeah, that's what you have. You need to do that. When you feel it, the minute you feel it, you have to start where is it? Is it in your stomach? Is it in your arm? Yeah, it's somewhere in there. And that, it can kind of be fun when you, once you've relaxed around the whole idea that you're totally hysterical with it. Yeah.
Now people, when they're dealing with fear, they're going to think of us and start laughing. Well, which is a good thing, right?
It is. I mean, it is. And as you know, Mia, I mean, and this isn't, I'm not, but I've worked with people also for many years. I've worked with women that have had cancer. I've worked with women who were dealing with grief after 9/11. And it all really comes down to, we're all in this together. We all have our own absolutely individual way of experience and handling, but we're all dealing with the same thing. We're all in this together. And so where would we be without humor? Even in the most serious things. Also, we really get it when we're not dealing with something. You will attract the same kind of lover who completely wrecks your life. You will have the same foot injury. If you will do the same thing. You will have the same thing happen again and again and again and again. And you really can't shake your head and go, "Oh my God!" It's you. It's you not paying attention to whatever it is, whatever the message is here, and not doing the work, and not sorting it out and becoming friends with it.
That's beautiful, because that also shows us the aspect of the smaller fears in our life of, why do I keep getting in car accidents? Why does this type of person, like you said, keep coming into my life? I love that you brought that up, because
it's really productive and unproductive fears. And the unproductive are the ones that it's like they are going to get you. They're going to beat you on the head until you pay attention. And then they will become productive because you will pay attention and you will do the work. And then you will raise your consciousness, which is the great gift. Not to say you're enlightened, because you have to keep doing so. And to start with the little aspects of changing our life that bring fear: car accidents, bad boyfriends, bad girlfriends, people who we allow to take advantage of us. All that we have to address one step at a time. And those are just tiny fears. Otherwise, they wouldn't keep coming in. What, honey? What was that? Repeat? I just threw in disease.
Yes, disease, yes. And how, they say, dis-ease, but also when our life is not in that harmonic flow, disease comes in very, very, very subtly. And
I'm going to throw in another one just on top of this. Oops,
yes.
I can't hear you.
Go ahead, throw in another one.
Well, you're throwing in disease, I'm going to throw in desire. Because desire means of the Father. Desire to get rid of the disease. It's a win-win.
That's interesting. I've never heard that before.
Desire is of the Father.
And
this is because I studied Latin.
That's okay. That's perfect, and I'm glad. You and my oldest brother would have fun speaking. He studied Latin too, and would just speak it all over the house.
Yeah, it's great. It's fascinating where things come from. But yeah, the disease, but yeah, there's sort of the counter to that.
You brought up 9/11. We have on the summit a PTSD, a post-traumatic stress disorder counselor that I'm going to be interviewing. I think it's tomorrow, and I'm very excited because 9/11 produced my PTSD from childhood up in my face. And even the words 9/11 produce fear for people. Do you want to talk about anything about 9/11 and fear?
Well, I mean, it's really all under the same umbrella. I mean, it brings it up in people. My immediate thing is, where in the body? And again, it's going to be everybody's different. But if it brings it up, and post-traumatic shock, I mean, you've had it, I've had it, it requires the very same process. It takes longer. It has well, you'll talk about that with your person tomorrow. But it's all the same thing, Mia. You know, it's whether it's 9/11 or whether it's not wanting to go out in the rain. I mean, whatever. It's just a different version of the same thing. And 9/11 was so stunningly terrifying for people that many people had a post-traumatic shock thing a reaction come up where they're still vibrating to that, but that also means that they haven't really done their work on what it is that's fearful about that and going into it. Where is it, all of that.
Francie, you have a free gift for everybody. Would you like to talk about it?
Of course I would.
Yay!
I just wanted to make it available to whoever might want to, explore things that are bothering them, whether it's specific healing around fear or anything else. I am a counselor, and I would love to offer a 20-minute free consultation with anyone that would like.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
Thank you. That's beautiful. That gift will be sent out with the email that you're going to be on, and then all of your credits along with mine will be on at the end. So wonderful. Is there a few more last thoughts that you'd like to leave us with? Because the time flies by and we're almost through.
My last thought would be that if you live in a place where you can see the sunset tonight, or if that's not possible, stars, or just take some quiet time and enjoy nature and watch the day come to a quiet close.
That's beautiful. And I know you do that every day at the beach.
I do.
Yeah.
After I've rollerbladed.
That's awesome. That's beautiful.
Yeah.
Wonderful. Thank you so much for sharing your time and your love and your information with us. We're truly blessed by it. Thank you.
Thank you.
And we'll see you all in the next segment. Bye.
Goodbye.